Hey everyone, so my name is Tyler. Um, Today I'm going to be doing a reaction to some comments on a video that I took part in. I was interviewed by WTOL 11, which is my local news affiliate here, kind of in the Toledo, Ohio area, because I had been at the Butler rally back on July the 13th. So I thought I'd kind of get in the rigmarole and go down the rabbit hole. I haven't watched this in about a month. I watched it once just to, kind of see how I did on camera because I'm very self-conscious about my image and how I portray myself. And of course, that got me into the the comment section, which I regret at times, and I may regret here. But I figured if I want to start building my channel, at the recommendation of a few people in the comment section. So I figured this is a way to start doing that. So I appreciate everybody who comes out and takes the time to watch this video. I won't keep it too long. We'll just see where it goes. So as you can see, it's pretty popular on WTOL 11's channel. With all their videos kind of in the last couple months, it's up there. So, 195,000 views for people that want to
It's
listen.
Pod's biggest sale of
I'm sure it's going to give us
the summer.
quite
Save
a
up to
bit here. So I'll mute the ad really quick. And so we won't watch it. I assume if you're here, you've probably already watched it. And then I'm going to move myself over so that way we can see the comments a little bit better. So I'll just kind of start 925. I'm not going through all of them. I'll go through some of them, some of the bigger ones. So I know this top one. I'd read this about a month ago. ETM 567 said, I lost my father in an automobile accident because he would not wear a seatbelt. It's January 1st, 1991. I will never forget how devastating it is to lose a parent suddenly like that. It is devastating. The gentleman, the firefighter, Corey Compertor, who was killed, I believe he had daughters. He had two daughters. I think one was at the rally. I believe the other one was not. He goes on to say, I have an idea how they are feeling, and it is indescribable. My heart goes out to them, and I pray for them to lose someone you love so much more than anyone on earth for absolutely no reason. Devastating. I can't agree much more than how he said it. There's quite a bit, so you see a lot of love and compassion in the comments. It really starts off really great. Of course, as we're going to see, we're going to get some not nice comments, but hey, that's what you do kind of when you put yourself out there on social media. So I kind of knew that going. So Tina Field Howe Creative said, for a self-described non-political person, that's how I described myself in my interview. I stick pretty true to that, at least at that time, about a month ago. The interviewee did a great job of political analyst. I thank him for his attention to detail and his willingness to share. And I thank you for your comment. It wasn't easy. I knew it was going to be controversial. I wasn't planning on making my attendance at the rally public, but given the circumstances there, that kind of changed things in a pretty dramatic way. And so Music is Breathing says, to hear someone who is there explaining what he experienced was great. Thank you, Mr. Dohar. Thank you. I just tried to be down and of course, a side comment is going to be, this guy did not impress me at all. That wasn't my intention. I wasn't there to impress anybody. I didn't give an interview to impress anybody. I just gave an interview to tell a story and tell my story in my version and iteration of events. This means, I think Brian meant to say, this man's story is compelling. His comments about how we move forward as a country are appreciated. But to put it more simply, the hate must stop. And I'm glad Brian agrees with me. I'm glad that somebody took that away. I think several people in the comment section do. To me, that's huge, is just getting beyond the divisiveness that we see today, amongst our neighbors, amongst our brothers, sisters, family, friends, people we've known for the majority of our life now being, construed and manipulated by what we see and how we try to especially put extremes to both sides. As I said again, if you're watching me now, I hope you've already watched this interview. If not, I'll obviously link it in the comments. But it's things of that nature that I really want us to get beyond that hate and divisiveness. We are not defined by the extreme polarities on either side. So I think people need to understand that there are many shades, and a lot of us are more in the middle than we realize. So I see where Eagle Claw's coming from, but I don't agree that it's to that extreme where we need to take our republic back. I think Brian did really good there. I don't think there's much. I have seen a lot of comments that say naive. I'm not beyond those criticisms. I think it is a bit to be naive with some of the things I was saying, but I like what looks like Eerie Mist had put. Not naive in the least. I wish more of us were this thoughtful about our current culture, about the direction we need to take as citizens, and about what we can contribute as individuals to a more stable future for all of us. I very much agree. So I won't get too much into the side comments and commentary. I'll just try to keep it to the main again, starting with the popular, and we might go to some recent, depending on time here. So BJP, you're a very kind man. I wish there were so many more like you. It is so important for our country to unite. We need to end all this fighting and hatred. Thank you. I get that. We're a constitutional republic. For sake of the argument, though, we are under an encompassing umbrella that amplifies democracy in a way. So I think democracy, while not the true measure, is still close enough. But I appreciate the comment nonetheless. Thank you for taking your time to share your experience. It really helps to hear an unbiased report of the assassination attempt on Mr. Trump. Prayers to you. I'd like to feel like I was unbiased, at least in my assertion. I, again, just gave my interpretation of the events. I know there's probably later on they'll get to some comments that, critique my perception of events, which, again, I think you're going to see with anything. We're human. We perceive things differently, so... but I thank you, C. Farlow, for that. See a lot of that. That's great. I appreciate it. I wasn't looking to get adoration for it or recognition in that way, but I appreciate it because again, I loved what I was able to say. Looking back on it, I was proud of myself for what I was able to say. Felt better than it did at the time as I was speaking it, and I'm glad that at least a few people are acknowledging that, and maybe it created some positive impact at the end of the day. So I'm thankful for that. Extremely articulate. I do have a disclaimer. I do have a background in public speaking. I went to college for music performance. I'm used to being in front of people, performing in front of people, speaking in front of people. So I'm not shy about that, or nor do I get nervous being on camera. I haven't been on camera very much, but I really don't get too shy about it. I do enjoy speaking off the cuff and trying to make sense. I know word salad is kind of a big talking point lately, but thank you, and that's why I'm trying to build my YouTube channel. If anything, and I commented to that girl. I really do appreciate comments like that. I was trying to keep up with good comments or comments that had questions early on, and I just have gotten away from it as the video, kind of hit its peak of popularity a couple weeks after. Thank you for sharing what you saw. So glad you were saved so close to someone who was shot. Again, that was to Corey Compertor. I said in the interview, it's, again, by my best estimation, I can't measure it out perfectly, nor would I want to at this point. But my estimation would be about 8 to 10 feet away. Corey was about, I think where I saw where he was seated on a final graph or mapping of the seating area and kind of where the shots fell. He was about 2 rows behind me, about 6 or 7 people to the right. Probably a couple more, so maybe 8 or 9 wouldn't be too shocking. But thank you very much, Mary. And again, my prayers to the family, my condolences to Corey's family. Impressed with this person, articulate and honest, has a lot to say and good advice. Says he's not very political, but political people should listen to his message. Thank you. I don't know that, and this is one comment that I get a lot, sounded scripted. I understand. I totally understand that. I think I came in a lot more, I don't want to say prepared, because I had no idea what they were going to ask me. I had an idea, because they knew why I was there. So I had an idea what I would be asked, and so I made sure to just have my thoughts all kind of right there in front of everybody. So, I left the opportunity for follow-up questions if they wanted to ask, or if they wanted to move on to another topic, they totally could as well. So, either way, I think that's, fine. But um, I've gotten this before, a media plant or a troll. I'm not. I'm just a simple guy. Single guy living in Northwest Ohio, just living his life, working a day job from 9 to 5, and, usually gaming, as you can see here, usually gaming right afterwards. So I promise not a media plant. We'll get that. That won't be the first time we see a comment like that, unfortunately. This video deserves to go viral. I feel like it did in a sense, in a very, very low sense, but still, it got way more views than I would have envisioned. I was thinking a couple thousand. Um, and, I appreciate it. I don't think of myself as a patriot, just somebody who loves the people of this country and their country and wants to see the best for it. But I thank you nonetheless. Then Mr. E001 says, I'm not even American. I thought his observations and opinions were interesting and could benefit lots of people in many different areas of life as a whole. You guys are on a wild and bumpy road ahead. I hope it will smooth out soon. Stay safe and vigil, America. I could not agree with that more. And again, you see patriot but naive. Again, probably a bit naive. I won't deny that. Thank you, Florida girl. I pray God will heal your mind and emotions from this horrific event. You gave a powerful message. Your head is on straight. I have to thank my father and mother and my grandparents for a lot of that and setting my moral compass pretty solid. I've made my mistakes. I'm human, as we all are. But I appreciate that comment. And I've been doing better as the days have gone by, as the weeks have gone by. I've been doing a lot better at processing it. And that's kind of where I'll leave that. Peace Tom said, 8 bullets. I'm not even going to try to figure out how that many people survived. That was a big thing for me too, especially in the event. As it unfolded, I was very, very worried that there was more that could have happened, either more shots from the gunman, a second gunman. Thank goodness there wasn't. And Secret Service reacted as quickly as they could. I know we all wish it would have been prevented, and I'm sure that as the years go by, more information should come out, and it really should. We need more. I want more personally. I want to know how that set of circumstances was allowed to happen as it did. But when you consider then all of those factors, it is a wonder that it was not more deadly than it became. So for that, I do thank the Secret Service and the local Butler area and police departments. Corey saved his family when he covered his wife and daughters. I don't understand why such a loving father was taken so soon. He took a bullet for all. I pray peace comes to his family and to others that survived. I hope to hear their survival stories. I haven't seen many. I hope more people do, if they feel so inclined, do speak up. Again, I was one of the more, closer to the fire, so to speak. Probably one of a couple hundred people if you consider the other section of bleachers as well. So I hope other people, speak up if they feel so inclined. Nobody's forced to. I really don't know at the end of the day why I did. I guess just to get my story out there and just try to quell some things I had heard from people that were saying it was faked or this, that, and the other. So it is what it is. So this is actually a comment I haven't read, and it's pretty long. So It's actually pretty simple. The first three shots were carefully aimed and pretty tightly grouped. That coincides kind of with my recollection. I remember hearing those first three shots. I believe they have followed each of these three. But when Crooks saw the Secret Service surrounding Trump, he panicked and he went into spray and pray mode. I think the fourth shot likely hit Corey, but subsequent shots flew over the crowd as the muzzle rose. It's a pretty normal characteristic, and if you shoot such rifles much, it's probably familiar to you. That would make sense. I really don't know what shot hit Corey. I thought it was shot number 3, but I think it could have been shot number 4, either of the subsequent 4 shots after that. Again, my mind is a little blurry on some of that. The sweetest and most profound thing he mentioned was he and his friend seeing the red cardinal in the trees after the shooting. That's intrinsic to me. I understand, that cardinal may not have been there. I may have, my mind may have just manifested it in that moment. Again, when I see a red cardinal, I automatically think of my grandmother. Not really for any specific reason. All that I can recall is that I lost my grandmother when I was 16 years old. And I just happen to recall seeing them a lot more frequently after she passed, at key moments in my life or larger moments. So to me, that's been kind of my way to give myself comfort and, a bit of warmth and comfort is thinking about that. So thank you. I see that I've seen that resonate with people before, where they consider that as well. All right, let's see if we can get some feisty ones. I do agree, though. Yes, we do need to question how this was allowed to happen. Let's see. Let's get into some. Some of these are really good. And I appreciate them. Not that there's good or bad, just good because they're, okay. Here's a decent one. I haven't read this one from Richard. The subtle pandering to Democrats was hilarious. It's not harder to get into a Biden rally at all. Trump has full houses every time. Joe's lucky if he can get a third of that. Again, this was recorded at the time when Joe Biden was the Democratic nominee. Again, I prefaced my presence at the Trump rally because I wanted the opportunity to hear a president speak, especially in this election cycle. I just wanted to hear it live without commentary. And I may be corrected. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But at least in this election cycle, there have not been any events in Ohio, at least the northern part of Ohio where I live. Southern Ohio, it takes a long time to get to some places in southern Ohio. Butler, Pennsylvania was only about 2 hours from where I live. Pretty much straight drive on the turnpike. So it really wasn't that long of a distance. I don't really recall him doing any events in Detroit that were like public events. I'm sure he did speaking engagements, but nothing public that you can kind of just get into for free. So, and I really wasn't interested in this election at the time when Trump did a rally in Dayton earlier this year. So again, it was kind of circumstance. I just happened to say that, and I regret articulating it the way that I did because but the follow-up comment is, well, it's probably kind of hard to get into a Biden rally when there are none. That was kind of my point. So when there are none, it's harder to get into feasibly. But Richard is not incorrect. I don't agree with the fighting comment, but some people are going to feel invoked as they do. Yes, I've now since learned that those first 2 shots were the ones that hit David Dutch and James Copenhaver. They have both recovered since, to my knowledge. So yes, that first shot that I think grazed his ear hit one of those 2 gentlemen. At least I think. If not, it was the 2 subsequent shots. This looks like a good and articulate one. So Salty Lavender says, Great guy, however, he lost me a little more than halfway through as he expressed how he had wished Trump had come across in a different way. I think this is referring to his RNC speech. But that wouldn't be Trump. People who love Trump love him and get him because of the way he is. Trump is who we need now. Seriously, there is no middle ground. That time has passed. Too much has been done by the left. They're irredeemable at this point. This country needs saving. God did not save Trump's life for nothing. Okay. So I understand that, but again, I want to see more unity. Um, Especially in that moment, he had done such a great gesture, I thought, with Corey's um, uh, firefighting suit out there on the stage with him in Milwaukee, and then just when he started calling her Crazy Nancy or and then Sleepy Joe, those I didn't care for. I really wanted him to rise above that, but Salty Lavender is not wrong either, because that is his appeal to a lot of people that like him. He is who he is, and he's pretty consistent at that, I would say, if anything else. Let's see. Yep, XPDNC. I didn't know about the heat stroke victims, and I know there were a lot more than just the two that I was around. It was a hot day, and they were passing out just cases of water, and we were passing them to everybody. We were trying to stay hydrated. It was just a very hot day, very little cloud cover. It's outdoors, so you kind of expect that. But yeah, not a lot of people know that was also occurring, and I think why medical teams took a little bit longer maybe to get to the victims than some people would have anticipated. This is a good one. I know Lynn had left this pretty early. I think this is one I replied to. I had mentioned that some people had perceived him raising his fist as a photo op, and I had just mentioned that kind of in passing while I was being interviewed. And I totally agree. Like I personally didn't think that, but I could see why some people would. So that was kind of just me, just kind of stating it a little off the cuff. But I totally agree with Lynn on that. I always like the ones that say Ohio should be proud. Again, I'm just a guy. And again, when I call it a democracy instead of a republic, look, I understand. I'm a plant again because I did that. I don't know. But, I understand that we are a constitutional republic, but we are also a democracy. So that's, in a way we are a democracy, especially if you look at like elections for House of Representatives and the Senate. I understand for the executive branch it's a little different with the Electoral College, but I think we can, let bygones be bygones there, but that's okay. Oh, there's some good ones. Here's one. He sounds like an actor. Well, I am, in a way, because I've done stage performances. If you want to see my stage resume, I guess I can show that. But I don't, I don't understand it, and I'm lacking the understanding for how people could perceive that. Again, maybe it's because I'm fairly well spoken, I'd like to think. I try to articulate by, straight laced means and being appropriate in that. But, I understand again because I came across probably, I really did it. There was no prep. There was no prep except for one or two emails back and forth just saying, can you come at this time? Sure. And then going from there. So that is really about it. There was no other prep, no other answers. I knew I was going to get asked. When I sat down before the camera started rolling, he just asked a little about me and me personally, and I told him kind of the background that I had, in schooling and how long I'd been in the area. So, I mean, that was really it. But again, I feel like I didn't really give not important or irrelevant details. Maybe I did. That's totally possible. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mary. I'm glad I'm all right too. I'm glad my friend's okay too. Um, Red Cardinal is a bright to draw attention away from his mate and babies. Bright red. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with Erie Mist on that too. So good to see Erie following up with some comments too. This man expends a lot of energy just distancing himself from the subject of the rally. I was asked more questions that were not about the rally than about the rally. Um, and here we go. Yeah, here's a plant. Um, the worst actor, uh, used car salesman. Okay, that's a first. Inauthentic. I've never heard that one before, so I got it. And my first words in my reply. Okay, very interesting. It's very interesting how people perceive my perception of the events as I explain them. Uh, oh, I think Jevel. I remember this comment because I had told in the interview, it was around that time we'd found out he had bought 50 rounds of ammunition. Jevel kind of places that a little bit at ease by saying that's kind of a normal way to buy them. If people disagree with that, that's totally fine. I, you know, because to me, 50 sounds like, you know, more damage was sought after by the shooter. So I'm glad that she clarified that because that kind of put my mind at ease. At least like he didn't go out of his way and pick up 50 round box. That was probably his only option. So again, thank you for that. That kind of quells a little bit of my anxieties on that. Let's see. Okay, still some good ones. And again, yeah, most people did not know about Corey being hit. Again, I remember early on as I was in the car with my friend and we were looking kind of through X, trying to get more information. I had personally witnessed his body being carried off. But then for somebody to say that was the shooter, again, that's when my mind started going, oh my goodness, the shooter was in the crowd. Thank goodness that did not come to fruition. Um, but, a lot of people did not know that there was collateral damage beyond uh, former President Trump. Oh, let's see. I want to get to some good ones, but I wonder if they're buried now, like some of the rough ones. And I agree, revenge of the ballot box and injustice in the justice system. I think that's pretty standard. Hopefully, nobody seeks violence as a retribution method. Um, I wish the man had been asked more about the officers working security at check-in. Did local police or feds manage check-in? I think I responded to Cindy. Yeah, so I did. So I didn't really explain this or in the interview. I just wasn't asked and didn't think about it at the time, but I'm sure people had questions about that. So you had a way to funnel in basically through some vendors that were selling, shirts, hats, stuff like that. Then you go through kind of a crisscross line, not crisscross, but a funneling system with gates to let everybody funnel in to about. I think it's 6 or 7. It may be more. I haven't even tried to verify. 6 or 7 metal detectors. Each station was manned by 3 people. I believe they were Secret Service, to the best of my knowledge that I would know. One person who would kind of help you put your stuff in a hat or a bin or something. The person kind of running the bin through, and then a person who would give you like a pat down at the end. So that's, and as I recall, the building where the shooter was on was not a part of that perimeter because once you got into this area, it was kind of fenced off for the most part in all other directions. It's hard for me to recall just because my last memory of it is going a different way to exit, which would have been a fenced-in area, but I believe they removed it at that point because of everything that was going on. But that was a great question. I love questions like that ask for a little bit more. Again, I get it. Got that wrong. Totally. I sound like a professional witness. This one has probably confused me a little bit more. I don't know that. I don't know what that entails, but I maybe thank you. I don't know. I just would like to think I'm a run-of-the-mill average person. This person said I look like somebody from a sitcom. I know somebody said that before. Um, let's see. Oh, okay. So this person must have been maybe in that center section. Um, so yeah, and kind of echoing the same statements that I made. So cool to connect in that way with somebody else who was there. Send this man a pet unicorn. Yeah, maybe. I could. Massive. Yep, it was a massive line. Yep. And then it looks like Berthau replies again. Um, yeah, people were very friendly there. I did not know what to expect. People were very friendly there. This guy sounds like he doesn't even know who President Trump is, and I feel like weird to want to be there. I could see that. I could totally see that. I appreciate this commenter saying, I did say I was interested and open to points of view. But, and I can also see that. It wasn't on my bucket list to go to a rally, but I ended up there just by a circumstance. It was free, and I was planning on visiting family as I was coming back because I have family in the Youngstown area. So that was kind of my intention, was to kind of just do two things at once. Oh, it's too interesting. FBI plant here. I wonder how much they are paying this Democrat. I promise I have not received any money from this interview, for being at the rally, for doing anything related to the rally, related to politics in general. The only money I get is from my paycheck. I'm not sending you my bank account statements, but if you'd like, you can ask me a comment and I'll figure out some way to show you that I'm not getting paid, and I'm not a Democrat. If you look me up on voter registration, I registered as a Republican when I was 19 years old because I wanted to vote for Ron Paul in the primary. So I've just kept my registration. I've never changed it. Interviewee so even keeled. Judicious comments. That's quite the word. I like that, Julie. Thank you. Respect and care you show for the other attendees around you after the shooting is remarkable. I just felt like I was just being a human being, but I appreciate the acknowledgement. Yeah, and thank you. Comments like Julie's, those are ones that really kind of hit deep for me. I'm not political. Half the interview is political analysis. Fair take. Very fair takes, but I understand. And I see, onward, upward, cardinal essence of my grandmother. Again, that's how I feel. And that's probably how I'll feel the rest of my life. Let's see. Live in Australia and don't agree with all Trump's policies, but it looks from here as though Trump voters just want to be left alone. Stirring seems to be coming from the media and other sides, either directly or indirectly. I could see that take, but I do think some Trump supporters, not all, some bring it upon themselves. So that I understand. Thank you. When a cardinal appears, an angel is here. I have never heard that articulated like that, but I like that. A lot of comments about the cardinal. I just thought that was kind of going to be a passing line, but I'm glad that some people also think the same way I do when it comes to that. Let's see. No way from everything that happened in the video of the woman who was recorded and standing just before wasn't involved. Her demeanor doesn't matter. I've seen that. The lady that was, I think, right behind Trump or right behind him to his left that you could see on the dedicated camera. I just think people were shocked and didn't know what to expect. And, everybody wants to look for answers and look for meaning just where it's not. I think she's just a run-of-the-mill, everyday, ordinary person like I am, and just happened to be in a situation. I'm sure I made some funny faces during that whole 90 to 120 seconds of time when everything was initially going on, and just the fear and the confusion, all of those emotions coming into you at that time. I'm sure I made a face or two. I don't deny that, but I don't think that lady was involved in any way. But a fair comment, but I just don't think it really bears much, doesn't have much ground to stand on. I'm not going to get into some people have their issues like that they focus on. I'm not getting into those. There's no point in relevancy here. Okay, here, Jan. After reading the comment section here, I am amazed at how many made comments only about this guy's political views and nothing about how this was supposed to have been an eyewitness account. That's fair. But, Debbie's also not wrong. A lot of my comments were political because that was more of the questions I was asked. But, that's fair. And that's a totally fair assessment. Which local office am I running for? None. I don't know if I have any anticipation on running for office. If I ever built up enough of a following in the area, maybe I'd run for like House of Representatives, but I think that would be the extent of my political career should I choose that. But I'm in a district that's been pretty heavy blue, but the incumbent is rather old, so maybe. I don't know. Um, it, at one point I would like to run for office just to say that I did. Again, yeah, I'm going to see that a lot. This guy should be Secret Service. He makes more sense than Kimberly. I think he's referring to Kimberly Cheadle, or he or she, they, are referring to Kimberly Cheadle. Yeah, because this was only a couple days after that hearing, and I was very, for lack of a better term, pissed off by the lack of answers from her. So I felt like I was able to give a lot more answers than the head of the Secret Service and the current guy who's now the acting director, whatever his name is, I forget. Nice rational guy, but people will soon be accusing him of being involved. Apparently that's already happened. I don't know. I just replied to a guy closer to the top who says this gentleman has to be lying. With all the talk of unity, I don't understand why people have to share such petty and negative things. I don't know. I don't know where Michael is going. So if you ever find your way to this video, Michael, if you can clarify if you're assuming somebody closer to the top of the bleachers, that I mean that's fair. If somebody has a different and a better vantage point, I'm not saying my recollection of events is concrete and perfect and immune to criticism, but I just need I need a little more context there because I really perhaps my proximity to Corey is what's being criticized, which again could have been further away than I thought. Too close for my comfort either way, but that would be about my extent of it. Again, not really going to try to get into too much of the political commentary when it comes to issues. Let's see. Thank you guys if you're still watching, still sticking around. This was very unscripted. I had no plan here. Just wanted to go through some comments, and here we are. I want to see if there's any questions, because I like to try to at least give you new information. Again, I'm not going to scroll for too much longer, because at this point... Oh, this is one I remember. Hearing this man speak, he's not typical MAGA. Again, I've never really classified myself as MAGA. I went to a rally. I don't know. But thank you nonetheless. But I think I was pretty emblematic of most people that would consider themselves MAGA. It's not everything that you see on television with a crazy guy with a hat or something like that. So, but I appreciate it nonetheless. This guy sounds like an actor. Close your eyes and listen. Was his script regarding a Biden rally? Blues poker game. Okay. All right. I feel like I've beaten that point to a dead horse. If you disagree, then I don't know any other way to convince you otherwise. We just won't see eye to eye on that. Nice damage control interview. I don't know what for. Maybe if you think I'm damaging control that I was at a Trump rally, perhaps. I could see your point. Anything else, I have nothing else to do collateral control for, so it's okay. How the heck did this guy see the bullet go by? That's quite impossible. And again, it's my perception of how I remember seeing something. I heard the pops. I glanced to my right because I was pretty much looking forward at the crowd. Again, I was putting my phone in my pocket. And I just remember um, seeing something go that I could see transition across the front of my face as I heard pop, pop, pop. That I recall. I could it have been something else? Absolutely. I don't know. I don't remember describing it as I distinctly saw the bullets, but I remember seeing something, and then kind of all hell broke loose, for lack of a better term. Uh, yeah, he does have an attitude for name calling. I don't. That's one thing I could go kind of. I could go without. So this witness, oh, that's always going to be a good start. "Quote unquote witness" was supposed to be telling his eyewitness story. So how come we're listening to his political views? Again, fair. But I feel like those were the questions I was asked. I didn't really go in there with an agenda or a way to promote activism in any way, but I get it. Let's see. We'll do a couple more and then we kind of get the gist. Why hasn't this been national news? We need to spread this around. I'm not a hero, but thank you. Um, it, yeah, and I did in that moment. I was a little bit at peace with, if I help somebody and something happens to me, I will at least have done some good. Um, and there were other people there that I feel needed more help than I did. Uh, so I appreciate that comment. That's that 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 hits home. That means a lot to me. So thank you, Trisha. Thank you. I feel like I can handle my emotions pretty well. It's been hard at times. A lot of my buddies that I talk to almost every night, they can tell you I've had some rough days. I've had some better days. I've had some worse days. A couple of them are ex-military, so they've helped me just process. I've never been that close to death in that fashion. So that's kind of been the biggest thing to overcome has been, registering that somebody died in rather close proximity to myself. Been through an active shooter situation that's affected me 20 years later, and I'm sure it never goes away, Elizabeth. You can dissipate it, but it never truly goes away. Biden denied RFK Jr. I didn't know that he outright denied it, but I know that he got Secret Service protection. So that was good. I've now since learned that it's been revoked since he kind of has limited his candidacy. So I'm disappointed to see that again for RFK's sake, based on family history and obviously current political climate. So I hope that his Secret Service protection gets reinstated. A lot of the comments were a lot better than I thought. There were only a couple bad ones. Lost me at the climate is very vitriolic from both sides. I'm clueless. It really is though. I mean, if you're a Republican, you really lack empathy for people at times. And what I mean by that is, again, when Trump goes on his terrors of name calling, he goes way beyond the line of like high school name calling even, to the point where it's just being bad. And then also on the other side, I mean, if you're a Democrat, you have a lot of lawfare that's being used in the country right now. I mean, and I speak this as somebody who enjoys listening to court cases and enjoys kind of just being a novice at understanding law and just watching how the uh, justice system works, and I'm not a fan of what's been done. So, again, I think both sides, once you can intrinsically and internally process that you are not perfect, your side's not perfect, your side has downfalls, you are a much better person, you're a much better contributor to healthy political discussion in this country when you realize that. So that's me on my soapbox for a little bit. Let's see. I saw that comment. I don't know if Andre had heard me when I had said that, because Andre was kind of I can't remember if he was taking notes or not. I was looking at him. I didn't know where to look. I was trying not to look at the camera. Sometimes I did. You get kind of caught up when there's a camera there, a cameraman, camera guy I went to school with, actually. And then Andre right in front of me who was interviewing me. So I can't remember if he was taking notes or not. I don't think so. So if he missed that, I was not offended when he asked me had I been to one before. So if I had to repeat myself, but I understand. I, okay, some of these I'm just not going to get into. And again, certainly not a proud Trump supporter. Again, I never really advertised myself as one. I just went to a rally. But to me, my perception is if you go to a rally, it's not like you're, a diehard supporter. I'm not. I didn't pay money to go. I didn't have to. I didn't pay money to buy any merchandise. I didn't even pay money to buy food. I meant to buy food, and events kind of transpired in a different way there. So I didn't spend any money at the rally. So I really don't consider myself a supporter. I Fair enough. I mean, thank you for saying I seem like a good guy. Is this a real account or scripted one? Oh, I remember Baby Gone Wrong because I replied. This was one of the few I replied to because I tried again not to get too much into it. Most organized and calmly recited testimony yet, like a book. I had a couple days to deal on it. So I replied, real, I promise. I'm honestly surprised I didn't stutter or trip over my words. I do have some background in public speaking from college and some interview coachings from my brief time with NASCAR, which is true. We did social media training. I did interview training. So that way I could accurately, display information and give poise in an interview. So I kind of was a little bit prepared in a way for something like this, should it ever happen, and circumstances aligned where it happened. So yeah, and again, even when it has to be something vulnerable, and I think yeah, she replied, and we kind of just went on a very nice back and forth. She asked me some questions, so it went on for a little bit, but great comment. It was thoughtful, at least. It wasn't just Democrat plant or MAGA plant or something like that. So I appreciate that. I don't know Andre's resume. I didn't know Andre before. Andre seemed like a very genuine guy when we were talking as he kind of took me upstairs to where I was interviewed. So, good guy. He was in the Big Bang TV show. Yep, I get that a lot. I forget the guy's name, but yeah, I get that comment a lot in real life. Not that this isn't real life, but you know what I mean, in my everyday life, I should say. Uh, let's see. Let's do like one or two more. I think Tyler needs to have his own show. It get pretty boring pretty quick. We'll start with YouTube and see where it goes. I'll talk about some various topics and see where this goes. Okay, here we go. So this is a decent one from Birdman. This dude is acting. He doesn't seem genuine. He said Biden rallies were hard to get into and they're always empty, and Trump rallies are always easy to get into when people have to go to wait hours to get in. Only people leave because they are filled to capacity. This was bullish. I feel like and I did reply to this one. I said it was. So again, doesn't do many rallies in my area. I memorized the script word for word with no emotion or real body language. Fail. I don't know what to say because there were other comments, I haven't seen them, where people noted how visibly shaken I was as I was describing the event, and it still gets me. But well. I'll leave on this one just because I remember seeing this one briefly. Well, thank you, K Dubs. Without knowing my political views, I appreciate that you would think I'm an elected official. I appreciate that, and I wanted to protect my friend. Thank you. So new Port KN says, Tyler Dohar, too articulate for average man on the street. Is he a professor? Seems like he must speak for a living. I don't. Body language that doesn't match words. I don't. How? How could you say that? Did you watch? I understand. I had told the story at that point about 3 times. I told it to a group of friends. and I told it to my parents. I wouldn't say that considers it well rehearsed. I just recalled details, at least how I perceived them in my head. I recalled details. Not saying they are absolutely true, unwavering, and absolutely without criticism, but I, I don't know. And I don't really speak for a living anymore. I used to, in a way, I guess. But that is what it is. Those are always just interesting. I was gonna see if there was like one more here. I see. I don't agree. I just I thought Andre did a good job. Um, but there are some questions I wish he could have asked me, but I couldn't tell you what I wish those questions were. So fair enough. Not saying it was perfect, but I thought he did a pretty well job for something like this that really had no outline to go off of. So but I understand. Um, what? I'm sorry, this guy here. We can leave on this one because this is where we're getting to almost absurdity. I'm sorry, this guy comes across like he has something to hide. He's trying way too hard. I don't know at what, but okay. How does he know the shooter crooks? I didn't. For one, any information I've learned has been post this situation. I really don't feel I have anything to hide. I'm now spending 51 minutes, doing a recording reacting to these comments just to try to build some content for my channel. But hey, what are you going to do? You can't appease everybody. So with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for watching if you've watched. However this video finds you. Again, I will put a link in the description to the original video from WTOL 11 when they put this up a little over a month ago. Again, July 19th. It was recorded on that same day. They posted it a little well into the evening. This happened in the afternoon on the 19th. So I appreciate you again for coming by and watching. And hopefully, if you like this, please subscribe to the channel. Please feel free to leave a comment. Good, bad, indifferent, does not matter. I try to be very active. In comments, as you saw, I reacted to some of them early on. So if you guys have any questions about it, I'm pretty much an open book. If I have an answer or know of an answer or can give you an answer, I gladly will. And if I can, I'll tell you because I either can't recall or I don't know what to add to the question. So appreciate it. As always, guys, take care. Have a fantastic day.